is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM. Today is Tuesday, February 4th, and it's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning. Once again, this is CA Newry. Of course, thank you for joining us at 96.9 Guardian Radio. Of course, if you want to join us in this conversation, the numbers are 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. And of course, if you want to participate from the Family Islands, you can call 242-300-5720. Today, we're talking statistics. We're talking about crime. We're talking about the recent article in The Guardian. If you want to, go and definitely purchase that Guardian for today. It gives some great information, some great detail about that. I want to ask several questions. Do you know that our police force has a 62% solvency? I think that's right. That rate you use now. Even though that's an accountant type term, I think they have like a police term called solvency rate. 62% solvency rate. We're going to read this into the record shortly.
Okay, because I was about to say because it says of murders last year, they have a 62%.
Yeah.
But they didn't say of homicides. They just said of murders. And there's a grand distinction.
Semantics. Also, did you know that 82% of the victims who were shot, no, let me change the word. I put in my own words like this. 86%, sorry. 86% of the
86 of last year's murder victims.
Not 86%?
No.
86? How much percentage that is?
I don't know.
We got to work that out?
I mean, if I know how many.
It's 100 and
they haven't added enough information.
Under 80% then. Okay, let's stick with the text, the facts. 86 out of the 100 and odd people who were murdered, killed, succumbed to unalivement, right? Were people.
We know that part. All were people.
Who were known to the police. That's what I'm trying to get at. All that to say that part. 86 out of the total number of people who were murdered.
120.
Okay, let me work with the percentage while you're doing it.
Because you work out that percent. I'm not doing that.
Instead of just these numbers.
So let me start reading from the article. Murders shot up by 9% in 2024 compared to the previous year.
Hold on, 120 you said?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. That's 71%, 72%. Let's stick with that. 72% of the victims who were murdered.
Of murder victims.
Victims who were murdered. Victims who were murdered, 72% to the police. That's what I want to talk about. But go ahead with the article. 72% of them were known to the police. We're trying to find what is known, in police, what I have to do with it. Go ahead, Aaron.
Murders rose 9% in 2024. Today's Nassau Guardian, top of the fold. Murders shot up by 9% in 2024 compared to the previous year, although overall crime decreased by 10%, according to statistics released yesterday by Commissioner of Police Shanta Knowles. There were 120 murders in 2024, compared to 110 in 2023, police figures show. The majority of murders in 2024, 105, took place in New Providence. There were 12 murders in Grand Bahama and 3 in the Family Island District last year.
Read it again.
That don't make any sense. The Family Island District. We don't have a Family Island District.
Okay.
You may think it's just semantics, but
I hear you.
Of the murders last year, 62% were solved.
62 of the murders last year.
62% of murders were solved.
Okay. Let me write that down.
Right?
Right words.
Most of the 2024 murder victims were between the ages of 18 and 45. Accounting for 78%. So 78% of victims were between the ages of 18 and 45.
So they're young. The
Yeah.
workable ages.
Retaliation, gang activity, and conflict were the most common motives for murder, representing 72% collectively, police said. Okay, so we don't have any. Okay. Police said most murders in 20 occurred on a Saturday or Monday and were more prevalent in the South Central, Southeastern, and Southwestern divisions of New Providence, accounting for 52% of the overall total.
That South area, kind of violent.
I don't like how you said that. I want to go back in. I don't like how you said
I
it.
said South. I see Southeastern, Southwestern, but South is common.
I don't like how you said that.
Yeah.
I want to go back to retaliation, gang activity, and conflict were the most common motives for murder, representing 72% collectively, police said. Okay, see, because we had questions about whether we have a serial killer.
Yeah.
Is a serial killer a part of a gang? Or does a serial killer is a serial killer by definition not a part of a gang?
No serial killer tends to act alone. But go ahead.
Do we have... Anyway, I'm going to continue reading. Remember, in the break, I told you I wanted to go and wash out my mouth because I felt like I had some words stuck in here, and I didn't want to unstuck them during the show. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. We continue to read. Police said most murders in 2024 occurred on a Saturday or Monday and were more prevalent in the South Central, Southeastern, and Southwestern divisions of New Providence, accounting for 52% of the overall total. Guns remain the weapon in murders with firearms used in the commission of 102 last year. So if there were 120 murders, 102 of them involved firearms. 86 of last year's murder victims were, quote, known to police, close quotes, while 18 victims were killed while on bail. So that's 86 known to police.
Yeah, 72%. And off that 72%, 18 of them.
No.
Go ahead.
Don't say it like that. We know that 86 of the 120
Yes. That's
victims,
72%.
right, were known to the police. And then it says, while 18 victims were killed while on bail.
They had to be known to the police too, eh? The 18 people who are in jail, they known to police.
What known to the police means.
No, I agree.
That's why I make that distinction.
Yeah.
Because when we determine what known to the police actually means, we may come to a different conclusion about these statistics.
Correct criminals? Or the police know them?
Overall crime against the person fell by 13% last year.
Something to be happy about.
Attempted murders, but because murder is a crime against a person. Attempted murders decreased by 11%, 31 cases in 2024 compared to 35 in 2023. See, but here's the thing. Did attempted murders decrease because murders actually increase? Did attempted murders decrease because less people are attempting to murder, or did it decrease because more people have been successful in their attempt to murder? Manslaughter fell by 67%, one case in 2024 compared to 3 in 2023. Armed robberies fell by 28%, 265 cases in 2024 compared to 368 in 2023. And robberies fell by 16%, 59 cases in 2024 compared to 70 in 2023. Okay, I refuse. This must just be of course, it could only be reported instances, right? It can only be reported instances. Here's the next question. We're not talking about murders. Maybe attempted murders. Have the attempted murder numbers dropped because people stopped telling the police people trying to kill them?
We must be happy for
Pause.
the
I'm not
statistics
happy.
that we have.
I am a miserable black woman. I am not happy for
Yeah.
anything, Newry.
But
Here's-
crime is down by 10%.
here's the question.
That is something to celebrate.
No, it's something to say, not necessarily to celebrate, sir.
You seem circumspect that crime is down by 10%.
No, I am absolutely certain that there's not enough information presented with the stats to suggest that we should be celebrating anything. I'm not even sure if I could celebrate that the police understand what the stats mean. See, I was having a good time just now until you reminded me. Would you like to go to the phone line, sir?
Let's go to the phone line.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I should get that queued up. Go ahead, caller.
Newry and Miss Green.
Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
I hope
Professor?
you're doing well. I can hear Miss Green very clearly, but I could hardly hear Mr. Newry.
No problem. I'll work on that.
Miss Green, you asked a very interesting question.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering, too, now, what is it meant by being known to the police? You mean to tell me no one in the media had asked the commissioner about that?
I'm not.
What does that actually mean?
Yes, sir.
86% of murders are known to the police.
Mm-hmm.
What's the interpretation of that? I don't know what that means.
Here's
Now, you also asked
Yes,
another
sir.
question about attempted murders.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be that people are killing more, right, because you've had this increase in murders,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just having or less people reporting attempted murders?
Ah,
Now, I'm listening to the stats that you were reading.
yes, sir.
I don't know if it makes much difference to the woman in Baintown with those 5 boys. She's trying to give them lunch today.
Mm-hmm.
And the man in Foxhill who got 6 daughters, he's trying to find young men to marry these girls.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't been successful as yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear these statistics being read. How much protection can I receive as police force?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, in my view, I ain't getting nothing from them. In fact, in the area where I live, that particular police station doesn't even assist the residents in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So if something were to happen now, as I speak to you, you can't get them to respond. You have to call somebody else to get a response.
Sir, would you like? I want you to explain that just a little bit, because I had an incident during the roadworks where I was going to an exercise session at about 4:30 in the morning, and my car was stopped by a private vehicle. It was obstructed in the middle of the road, and the individual began barking orders at us, right? But in a belligerent way, cussing and very kind of wild and aggressive. We were at 4:30 in the morning, awake enough to drive safely, but barely awake to engage, right?
Yeah.
And when the person finally stepped out of their private vehicle, they were wearing, I think, in fact, a prison uniform. And I told them, when I saw that they were wearing a prison uniform, I told them, don't watch nothing. What to do is meet me at the nearest police station. And we got in our car and we drove off to the nearest police station, which was Nassau Street Station. And I kid you not, I was unable to enter the station because the officer on duty was sleeping next to the door and could not be awoken for no manner of banging. Is it that type of situation you talking about?
I'll put it to you this way. There's absolutely no response. In fact, the officer who would answer the phone would tell you they're watching a prisoner. They have nobody to send. They don't have any car or any such thing like that. You don't have any walkabouts by the police from that particular station.
Mm-hmm.
Even the person who's supposed to be chief superintendent, see, these titles ain't worth a crap to me, because I am looking for protection from the officers. I am not getting that.
Mm-hmm.
So you call anytime, day or night, response from them. None whatsoever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
They always have an excuse. They can't send no one, or they just have one person in the station looking after the prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I went there, Miss Green and Brother Newry, the man told me time to take my complaint.
Mm-hmm.
He doing something else. And I went there in person to make a complaint on something.
Yes, sir.
And I watched the behavior of these officers. And now here's another thing. Don't talk about no trust with me. You got to repent of your wicked ways. If you're going to build trust with me, repent of your wicked ways. You can't tell me to trust no police and you continue in the same wrongdoing that you were doing before.
Mm-hmm.
I can't accept that.
Yes, sir. Thank you
And
very much.
right now, a lot of people are talking about reported, see, I'm going to use my words carefully,
Yes, sir.
reported corruption in the police force.
Yes, sir.
And someone is going to tell me you only have a few bad apples. Well, where's the evidence of that?
Yes, sir.
I don't see any evidence of it. So the thing is that you have taken active interest in the tourists, but they have no relationship whatsoever with the citizenry of that particular community. They
Absolutely.
just don't.
Yes, sir. Thank you
They
very much.
carry this attitude with them day in and day out, month in and month out, year in and year out. And they talking about building trust. Repent of your wicked ways. Then we could start talking about having a relationship. The community has to repent too. So let me put that straight.
Yes, sir.
The community have repented their wicked ways, and the police have repented their wicked ways.
Yes, sir.
Don't talk about no trust, because we can't have that. Not the way things are going.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much, Professor. I
Thank
appreciate
you very
it.
much.
And it's a matter of trust. And there's a number of persons who are concerned, especially moving forward with our police force. We appreciate the statistics, but we want to know how the statistics impact policing. How is policing impacting the statistics in general?
Before we go to the next caller, I see you there, and then we got a slew of texts, Mr. Newry. This known to the police thing. I have a problem. Last year, on my way to work, this caused me change my whole route to work, you know. On my way to work, I used to come all the way up Shirley Street, go down Cumberland, onto, what's it called in front of the Hilton? Come down there.
Go ahead.
Right? So when I come off of
Cumberland.
no, Cumberland is the hill. But when you turn left, westbound, isn't that portion of road there have a different name?
Yeah, but give me a couple seconds to think of it.
Around to the new Margaritaville street light. If any street light in the country ever break down, y'all don't fix that one. We got other things to fix before we get to that in the list. But here's the point. I coming down the hill. As I was coming down the hill, I got cut off by about 5 or 6 cars, just jamming their way from the eastbound lane on Cumberland to the westbound lane on Cumberland, right? Cars running the red light over Blue Hill Road as well. So one day after I experienced that, being cut off by several cars right in that small space, I come around the curve. There are 4 officers standing in front of Dunkin' Donuts on the other side of the curve, flagging cars down, right? So when I came around the curve, I said to myself, Aaron, if the officer stops you, then you'll talk to him. If he doesn't stop you, then just keep going. Don't say nothing. The officer stopped me. Well, no, he waved me down. That's what I mean. He waved me down to slow down, I imagine, so he could look at the tag on top of the car. So when I slowed down for him to do that, I dropped my window and I said, sir, if you guys just move less than 100 feet around the curve, there are a number of traffic infractions that you could capture, and your presence would probably deter drivers from committing traffic offenses. You know, the first thing the officer said to me was, Miss, and I looked at him and I said, sir, my name is Aaron Green. Go back to your station and you ask any officer in the station that you were assigned to if you saw me putting on my seatbelt when I came around the curve. I said, you go ask them that. That was such a disheartening and unfortunate situation. Because let me tell you why. Because now I am known to that police.
You're known to the police.
That boy had an attitude with me, and he continued to have an attitude with me, even though I fulfilled my duty as a citizen. And I've encountered him again, and the boy had an attitude with me.
You're known to the police.
So now I'm known to the police, that police. We really want to know, what does known to the police mean? I see you got to call it there,
Yes,
Mr.
let's
Newry.
go to caller, because I have a text that says known police means they are working for the police or with the police.
I don't know.
That's what the text is saying. I don't know what known to police
So
is.
known to the police mean they're confidential informant?
Who knows? Let's go, caller. How you doing?
Morning, Mr. Newry. Morning, Ms. Green.
Morning, sir. Before you go, sir, let me just say this. I may have been a little wild in my commentary just now. Please don't let that encourage you to be a little loose, because we talk in serious matter. And I'm not saying I expect that from you at all. That's not what I'm saying. I am recognizing that my commentary may have been a little loose and may encourage people to follow in that vein. Don't follow in that vein.
No, okay, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Hope not, hope not.
Okay.
But Mr. Newry, when you was talking about the unsolved ones, the ones with the 6 individuals on Jerome Avenue and stuff like that. I mean, like those are the boldest ones. You know what I mean? Like those are the boldest ones, especially the one I think his name was Fox. I mean, because I saw a video.
Now listen, sir.
And I talking about some young men were walking across the campus. And while the young men were walking across the campus, you could hear gunshots ringing off in the background. And you could hear how long the individuals took, like they were in no rush. You know what I mean? Even the gentlemen, even the young men who were walking, commented on how long the individuals were there. So those ones that were unsolved are the most, like, they're the boldest ones. You know what I mean? But when you were talking about known to police, I'm wondering if if any of those individuals are known to the police to be gang members, because in the statistics that y'all called just now, some of the crimes were rated as gang. I'm trying to figure out if currently right now, if the police force has individuals on their books or on their records who they have listed and classified as gang members, because we have a gang law, right? And I mean, and the thing about it is that since this gang law thing been being passed, only one individual, in my recollection, was brought to court, right? And I think they were released. But since that, I think there have been 2 other legislations that have been brought forth to be dealing with gang members. So when the police talk about individuals being known to the police, right? Do they have individuals right now on their books who they have classified as gang members? Because I want to see somebody being prosecuted or being brought before the court, because listen.
You're saying under the new gang legislation?
Everybody needs to do their job for the country to function properly. Like your body have parts. Your body have fingers, toes, eyes. If either one of those body parts fail to do the job that it's supposed to do, then the body is not gonna function properly. And if that part is a crucial part, a vital part, then the body will. You understand where I'm coming from. So view society as a body, people. And if you have an occupation, do your job, man. You understand? Do your job, man. Or if not, quit. Quit your job. You all have a good day.
Thank you very much, caller. Mr. Newry, I would go to the text line. That's okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you have the text line queue up already?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
What I would like to know, Aaron, is who conducted this investigation and were the murders of the men solved? How do they know that the police weren't involved? Another text, Aaron, please ask CA if he start giving... Oh, I'm going to let Mr. Newry read that text. And here's another text. To COP, I think it's supposed to say the COP opened up some cold case files. The text, the typos, I can't render exactly what that's supposed to say. Text, I'm so sorry. Morning, Ms. Green. The narrative of no one is above the law is a theoretical one. Here's another text. Good morning. Good show as usual. The Commission of Police seriously don't think people coming forward, they can solve who killed the 4 persons not risking their lives. I think the text is saying that they don't think that people are going to, or they think that people consider coming forward as a risk to their life. Known to the police were the ones committing the crimes. I'm not sure exactly what that means.
Something I want to talk about and bring its attention to the listening audience. The previous caller hinted towards it, and I said it jogged my memory that something I had written down but didn't pursue. First of all, I want to mention you said I was uncomfortable with how my commentary on the district seems to have a, in quotes, murder problem. Let me just put that out there. Mm-hmm. Recently, the minister responsible for the police force, National Security, said that the government is cautious about enforcing the anti-gang bill. Mm-hmm. But you remember they make a big hoopla that this is the way forward, that they bring in this new bill in order to solve the problems because they know that it's gang members who are doing the murders, right? Mm-hmm. So far, they haven't charged anyone with this anti-gang bill, even though it was urgent several months ago. We need to put this bill forward now because we will capture we will arrest, we will deter crime with this
I mean,
anti-gang bill.
We put the marital rape bill on the side.
Throw
we
away
put
everything.
the cannabis bill, them thing on the side.
Because
we
this
can
is
focus
urgent.
on this.
It was
Yeah.
urgent, and they have yet to use it despite its urgency. Now, I know they have arrested a number of people for gang membership. They didn't charge them. They just were detained and say, okay, we're arresting you for this anti-gang thing. But since then, despite the numerous arrests, urgency, you find that the government is not pursuing it, or they're careful, or they're cautious in terms of using this anti-gang bill for whatever reason. And I could always speculate on what the reasons could be, unconstitutional or whatever it is, right? But why the sense of urgency? And to flippantly say, well, we ain't using it right now. We have it on our books. We have it enacted in law, but we ain't gonna never use it right now. Right? See, something is wrong with that, especially when you put aside so many other things that the Bohemian public saying, man, we want, remember we said we want a Freedom of Information Bill and all these
Freedom
other
of
things?
Information Act, fiscal responsibility.
Well, we thought was urgent.
Campaign financing reform.
We thought these were urgent. We thought these was low-hanging fruits. We thought this was urgent.
Somebody to explain what turn left on red
And
means.
out of the blue, our government said, no, we want to bring this anti-gang bill. This is more urgent because it's a matter of life and death. We can solve some murders immediately. And then years later.
I mean months.
Months, but yeah, years later.
Months feel like years.
Yeah, nothing.
It just...
You know?
Right. It's so... I got to get a copy of the legislation because I'm thinking to prove someone is a gang, do you have to show a pattern of behavior? To prosecute someone under the gang legislation, do you have to show a pattern of committing the crime? And does that mean not just a pattern of arrests, but a pattern of convictions? And so there will be a period of time before we could actually charge or successfully convict anybody under the legislation because we have not amassed like the criteria to use such offense. But I see your phone line just went red, Mr. Newry.
Yeah, that's Patrick calling through.
Good morning, caller. Welcome to Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry.
Good morning, Aaron DeGeneres. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I just calling want to chime in on your police topic. In the headline, it's very appalling that anonymous persons, I don't know if it's the newspaper that says that there's no police involvement in those killings. So strange, Bahamas, and things does happen, and a lot of things have been swept under the rug in the country today, but articulating what is a gang, a bunch of guys on the corner hanging out, calling themselves after a particular symbol or whatever, they're a gang. Is it safe, Aaron, to say that a lot of police involvement in wrongdoing is a gang as well?
I'd be very, very careful. I think that that's an important discussion. And that started, before they passed the legislation, because they indicated that a big part of the issue is defining what a gang is. And then understand that constitutionally you have a right to freedom of association.
Yes.
Right? And so to what extent, what are the terms of a gang identity, right? Because like you say, what is it? Is it that people in the organization repeatedly break the law? Or is it that the organization is rooted in the purpose of the organization is to break the law?
Well, the center focus on what a gang is, Aaron, is that a group of persons being concerned together in unlawful acts. So whether it be police, whether it be members of the public, whether it be a bunch of men out to sea in voting activity.
What if it's a number of men and women in the House of Assembly that refuse to follow the law, refuse to adhere to the constitutional provisions, in particular those provisions of the public disclosure Commission Act.
Aaron, I would have called you a brain surgeon, but you read my mind there. That's everything I wanted to say. He was a plumber, and he said, you know, for lack of better words, he said, waste goes downhill. And if you look at where if you look down in the inner cities of the Bahamas, where we say these are swamp, these are degenerated neighborhoods that are caused the crime inflicted, but you know where the hill is. That hill contains our House of Assembly. That hill contains our police headquarters, health, you name it. They're all on that hill, and it's coming down into the pipeline. You understand me?
I think that policymakers and the political class refuse to acknowledge a basic Bahamian cultural tenet, right? Which is, it is trickled down. We watch what you do up top to determine what we are allowed to do. And if you're doing it, we're going to do it too.
Well, is it safe then to say that local, I wouldn't call the local over-the-hill areas communities. Why? They don't have communities. Those are war zones. You have single mother raised boys and girls. You got broken families. Those are our law, health, and everything else to make good with their income. Okay, they make these people get wealthy of the ills, the social ills that are in the neighborhood. So if they say their hands are clean, tell me what it is you do for a living, and I can say you cannot fix the inner city problem when you are benefiting from it. You and I are going to have a few more discussions, Aaron. Maybe it would be wise for me to come and have a forum with you one of these mornings.
Man, listen, hold the line. Producer, do me a favor. If you are willing to give the producer your name, number, I'll reach out to you after the show.
I don't believe, but I will call you and I will personally arrange with you.
Okay, no problem.
Is it okay?
Yeah, man, no problem.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I appreciate that, caller. Thank you very much. But there is confidence inside the police force. It's not necessary to critique, right? Mm-hmm. We appreciate the statistics. We understand the policing, but we want to see the policing reach others, especially when we use in terms known to the police where people just don't understand it, especially when we now have their criticism that the police is familiar with the criminals in general. Right.
This is what I'm going to say. It's not that people don't understand what known to the police means, right? Demand a formal statement from the police, from the Ministry of National Security. If you're going to use it so regularly, right? Like now it's police language. Mm-hmm. What exactly are you saying?
Correct criminals, maybe?
That it means, and how does that reconcile with the law? Like, how does it reconcile? If somebody is innocent until proven guilty, then what does posting next to their name or disseminating, publishing next to their name, the phrase known to the police, how does that impact a jury pool? Right? But here's a text here that speaks to something you said earlier. It says, yes, Aaron, this is the point. Raw data without expounding context or clear definitions means nothing to me. I'll keep locking my doors at night and stay away from the whole of South New Providence.
See, back to South New Providence?
Pause, that's the texter.
The texter knows. Southeast, southwest, south. It's a problem. They have the majority of the murders. It ain't safe out south. Come north. Or some part of east.
So where the risk is...
Well, they didn't call east. They said the murders happened in the south.
You know the kind of the area that I'm near to?
I see.
Dorset Street?
I see where
Is it Dorset Street?
Yeah, but
the one off of Adley Street?
They ain't call out east. You're part of out east. You're part of Foxhill Safe. In contrast to south. Numbers.
Here's another text. Known to the police means the RBPF was the judge and jury of an individual, so when they arrest or kill you, don't ask no questions. That's what some people believe it means. Yeah. Great show as usual. Did you tell the officer you are celebrity Aaron Green? No, at that point I was the face against. I was a different type of celebrity. Okay. Texter.
Caller, we see you. After this, let's see what time it is. After this quick break, we're coming back to have you on first. And we're talking about crime statistics. Murders rose 9% in 2024, but overall crime is down by 10%. Is this something to celebrate? Is this something to say, man, explain these numbers to us, man? I still ain't see it feel safe. Guardian Radio AM, of course, is CA Newry. Caller, like I said, we'll come back. We're going to talk to you.
With the best for all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window deals, no job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Alpha Sounds Promotion presents Back to Love, an unforgettable evening of smooth R&B vibes. Join us at the Nassau Cruise Port on Saturday, February 15th for a spectacular all-white affair featuring live performances by soul sensations Freddie Jackson,
Hey everybody, it's Freddie Jackson. I'm coming to Nassau, Bahamas, and we are looking forward to the night of love.
also performing Regina Bell. Also featuring Bahamas' very own Essence Band. Back to Love. Saturday, February 15th. It's a spectacular all-white affair at the Nassau Cruise Port. Get tickets online. BahamasEtickets.com. Plantation Bar and Grill. Big Boys Cafe. And Tropics Bar and Grill. For more info, contact 822-6863.
And I hope to see you there.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com. and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
In Radio AM, let's go to the caller now who's been waiting for a while. Thanks very much for your patience, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Newry, and good morning, Aaron Hale.
Hey, good morning. Morning.
Okay, good morning to the nation. I called in when I heard, Aaron, you were talking about this known to the police thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I've also been speaking about, expressing concerns about for at least 10 years now, 10, 15 years. And I know that at some point, various commissioners of police would pull back from using that statement, but they would always relapse in reusing that statement, right? And as you started to say, Aaron, some of the points that I've been pointing out as well, this whole, when you are talking about the judiciary and the legal system, which the police force in our country is a part of upholding and overseeing, right? And seeking to prevent wherever possible. It sort of contaminates and even corrupts the process of law and order in our country. If an individual is presumed innocent until proven guilty, if an individual has to not only be or enough evidence be gathered in order to charge an individual and present them before the courts, then successfully have that individual adjudicated, right? And condemned as a criminal in the act for whatever they were charged. That sort of takes away from that entire process when you have in the public sphere the Royal Bahamas Police Force putting or playing sort of a mind game or an emotional and mental game with the public by stating the individual is known to the police, but at the same time, they have to be charged and successfully adjudicated through the judiciary system. It makes little sense to me, and I call for commissioners of police to refrain from that, to pull back and stop that, because that serves no real purpose at the end of the day, except to try and sway the public mindset when the policing in this country should have nothing to do with what about it. As long as it is doing its job in the right and in the legal way. And so that's something that's counterproductive to enforcing law and order and supporting the judiciary by properly gathering evidence and charging individuals to bring them before the court. And the second point, which is the last point that I wanted to speak to, that both yourself and Cecil were speaking about, Aaron, is what the act, the gang act that was passed. And I want to highlight that Prime Minister Davis did come back in the public sphere, I think last week or week before last. I think it was last week, though. And he spoke about this matter. And he further highlighted that another aspect that they're elaborating on in this act, Aaron, that gives it common sense and strength and intelligence to identify persons who are in gang is if they identify you as someone of interest that they suspect is a part of some gang movement, looking at your finances. That is where the needle, that is where the bullseye. If an individual is perceived to be in a gang, and we all understand that there's dollars that are flowing in that environment, then if you cannot account legitimately for your money, that places you at a further and more legitimate suspicion for being involved in a gang. And so that aspect right there, Aaron and Cecil, is where I think the Prime Minister, Minister of National Security, the Cabinet, whoever was involved in adding that particular component to the act, got it correct. Thank you for the opportunity. God bless. Continue the good work.
Thank you very much, Antoine.
Thank you. Here's another thing that arose for me in concerns, and something that I thought would have been fixed by now, because it's definitely wrong. There's supposed to be a homicide count, right? Like, courts determine if it's a murder or not.
So you say there needs to be an educational process of the difference?
Right. See, because there's a homicide count, and then you break it down. See, all murders are homicides, but not all homicides are murders. Mm-hmm. You have manslaughter, you have vehicular manslaughter, right? You have like it's like a reckless, you were reckless and it resulted in the death of someone, right? Like there are a number of categories under homicide.
Perhaps it's a media thing, that media tends to use the wrong wording, and just that we need to remind media to use the word homicide. And then it's off.
What if this, it doesn't, that's not the problem.
That's not the problem?
I'm almost certain that's not the problem, sir.
Let's go to the caller. Producer Patrick, call it through. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me? Call. Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you in the background.
Yeah, just a point that Anton just made. If the Prime Minister made a call for a consideration for monies that could be unaccounted for, he should just pass a law. Why? Because you cannot say only for people that is considered a member of a gang, which is actually a grouping, which can actually then be a political party in churches. Accountability, transparency, anti-corruption, integrity laws to be passed. Then the law for unverifiable economic enrichment should apply to everyone in the country.
Say that again. Say what you call that? Repeat that phrase. The economic enrichment part. Repeat that.
For non-verified economic enrichment.
All right.
If you like, for instance, right, even if you put some things in your grandma's name, and we have now the land registry and everything else, what happens is grandma would have to prove where she got it from. And so this is one of the parts of the so-called anti-corruption, integrity, freedom of information type environment. Mm-hmm. And so this is why when we often scream about freedom of information, it's not a singularity when we ask for freedom of information, because it also requires digitization of the country so you don't have individuals tracking this by hand. And so then we'll be having issues in our country like immigration. And so watch it. This is Aaron. If you go back, and I heard a show today off and on because I was doing something, where they spoke about, what do you call it, children without status?
Undocumented? Or stateless children?
Bahamian and waiting.
Stateless children or Bahamian and waiting?
Stateless children, right.
Yeah.
And I would tell you that there could be hundreds, if not thousands, of stateless children in the Bahamas. And do you know how that happens, Aaron? Consider that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, someone got citizenship who is not entitled to it, and then you digitize this information, and then you find out that they don't have they got their citizenship
fraudulently.
There's something called derivative citizenship that came out of that citizenship. All becomes invalid, could make those people stateless. And this is why we need to have a conversation about the digitalization, datification, and digital transformation of the country, which is the only means for our economy to remain competitive and grow. It isn't, a singularity of things. It's a complete embracing of the 21st century that is needed for governance and growth in the 21st century. And I think we need to have a broader conversation across every single thing to find out how they're all interconnected. Kind of like humans and trees. We need each other. One produces oxygen, one produces carbon dioxide, and vice. And so this is the problem, is that we keep talking about things individually, and this goes for crime. The same datification of the information right there. So because is crime down or the reporting of crime is down?
Ah, boy.
Okay? And because if I begin to feel that if somebody break into my house and take my TV, I decide what relief from the time, the effort, trying to go to the police and all these different things. I just move on.
See, Alan, one thing I could say with certainty in my heart and in your heart is that the reporting of crime has gone down. I know that. Oh,
yes. I listen. But Aaron, tomorrow I'm going to call you concerning your experience for the car driving, because I want to show you that anger, frustration, and things is internal rather than external. Because those you're angry at and upset at don't know and really don't care.
Oh, no, don't watch nothing. You see, just like Bahamians have decided they mad at their government, so they're going to run a stop sign and potentially kill somebody to show how mad at the government they are.
Right. No,
I prepare to do the same thing.
No, but this is the state of our country now. Our country is in a state of free fall, a state of chaos, because we have no systems almost for anything that functions in the way it functions, which is almost simple in the 20th so much again.
Thank you, C. Allen. I'm glad you hang up the phone just now.
Let's see if we get squeeze this person in before we go. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
I just need 30 seconds to just address one thing C. Allen said. C. Allen, as it relates to the benefits of crime, et cetera, and your suggestion that it shouldn't just be limited to persons suspected of being in a gang. It should be expanded to persons in a wider community. It has been. The government has done exactly that already, C. Allen. If you recall, you had the churches, for instance, who raised an uproar with the adjustments to financial reporting that the government instituted in their financial
it means nothing. It means nothing until they start. It means nothing until they start gazetting public disclosures. Let's make another point. The government cannot run on with anybody about. In fact, when I say run on, here's what I mean. You can't get bulldog faced. You can't be snarling at your citizens about a refusal or a hesitance or resistance to paying taxes when you refuse to declare and gazette the public disclosures.
Well, for those who are guilty of that infraction, of course, because
all.
But at the end of the day,
all. They haven't been outside of election declarations. Outside of the declarations required to run.
You can't say all, Aaron.
No, I'm going to tell you.
I'm
going to tell you. Outside of the election declarations that have to be submitted and are published for elections, declarations have not been gazetted since 2011. And the 2011 exercise only covered declarations up to 2008. In the meantime, any individual actor could have taken it upon themselves to publish their declaration in the newspaper at their own cost, but they didn't.
Like I'm saying, where it applies, those who fall short should be held to account or should be made to answer. I agree. But not everybody falls in that category.
Everybody falls in the category because nobody's...
At the end of the day, Aaron, as it relates to crime, whether it's being reported or not, you can use that scenario going back as far as when the police commissioner started reporting crime to the media publicly. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Anton.
Just because something has been operating incorrectly since its inception doesn't mean we now deem that as the correct way to operate. We fix it. But what we don't do is have hypocritical conversations about what one set of people are doing when it's obvious that the people who actually have a duty of care, a statutory obligation to do something are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. But see, that's a part of where the problem lies.
So moving forward, we have 2 minutes. Moving forward, even in terms of how the crime statistics is displayed or bring about to the Bahamian public, is it bringing any confidence? How we embrace the police force, how we trust the police force? Does the data itself matters to the general man on the street, right? When you say crime is down by 10%, is the fear of crime down, right? When you tell me that the southeast, southwest, south north, whatever the south is, has a crime problem with violence, does that make me confident?
Is crime down, or if people stop reporting crime? Is crime down, or if people stop calling because they don't expect the police to come anyway? They don't expect the police to pick up the phone. They don't expect the police to have something coherent to say to them when they call.
You think we have 30 seconds?
No.
No, we don't have 30 seconds. Caller, I'm sorry. This has been Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Newry. Thank you very much. Aaron, we see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. We're having a big on-the-clock 4th anniversary giveaway tomorrow.
4 years you've been on the radio?
God spare life, God spare the show. I can do a couple more.
Congratulations, eh?
Thank you.
And we'll be right back tomorrow.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.